So let's open in prayer. Baruch atah Yahuah Eloheinu, you who have created all things from what seemed like nothing. For you who built the building blocks to build all the things that you built, but the building blocks didn't come from anywhere. You who have spoken into existence, Abael, your will, whose will we all thrive in, and even if we don't know it, are the recipients of. We just bless you today. We just give you the esteem that your great name is worthy of, and confess that there is none like you, Abael. Mika Moka, there is none like you. We can look high, we can look low, but we'll never find another. We'll never find another who can call themselves, Abael, El Elyon, like you are. And so we humbly bless you, Abael. We seek you and ask that you would just move in the midst of our lives, Abael, that you would show yourself mighty, that you would do all those things and help us to understand this book in a way that's important to us in our walk. Baruch atah Yahuah Eloheinu melech haolam, Torah Abael, and Hallel Yahuah. Amen. 2 Shemuel chapter 13. All right, so backing up, like I always do a little bit, chapter 12 was the rebuke chapter. Chapter 12 was when Dawid got the visitation from Nathan and he responded. And I talked a little bit about how there was a distinction between the way Dawid did this thing and the way that Shaul did. Now, Shaul didn't murder anybody. Shaul didn't take anybody's wife that we know of like that, although I guess he did take Dawid's wife and gave her to some other cat, but that's another matter. But what Shaul did and what Dawid did were dealt with differently. And some might think it's not fair. I mean, how could Dawid kill a man and take his wife, impregnate her, the Most High call the second one Jedediah? How could the Most High do that with him? And he dealt with Saul by taking the king, ripping the kingdom away from him. Ultimately, he died and put Dawid, who he said was better than him, in his place. This is like, not something that most people can handle if they look at it like that. But the Most High has said in the Torah that he would have mercy on who he would have mercy on. And this is not some sort of power trip, like I could just do what I want to do. But it does show the power of Elohim and the election of Elohim in a way that we should not sidestep. We should understand that just because you see somebody do a thing over there doesn't mean that you could do that thing over there, and vice versa. So all that said, when Shaul was confronted with his sin, he responded one way, and he seemed kind of sorry, but it's a difference between being sorry that you caught and sorry because you've offended Elohim. Now, while this might not perfectly explain all of it, when I see what Dawid did, his repentance was deep, and he accepted the will of Elohim going forward in a way that Shaul did not. Shaul looked for Shemuel to help him, to get him a pardon. Dawid had a genuine relationship himself. And so he and Elohim are communicating, and so it was a different relationship altogether, almost like that of a servant versus a son. And while, you might want to be even-handed, a servant versus a son, a son has at least got a notch on the servant in many respects. So go read Tehillim 51 and you'll see how Dawid was cut to the core on it, and we'll see what his desire was even in the midst of that, because that psalm was written right after the whole set of events, and it gives us some color into what this heart that's like unto Yahuah is really like. And may it encourage you, like it encourages me and so many others over the years, to understand and to walk in that thing, that fear of Yahuah, that desire to be what it is that he wants us to be, and a desire to be with him. Hallelujah. All right. So I said back in, I didn't say it, I read it, that there was that 4 sheep move that Dawid kicked out. He says in 2 Samuel 12 and chapter 6, also he has to pay 4-fold for the lamb because he did this deed and because he had no compassion. And if you remember, I says that, okay, let's keep account here and let's see if that actually measures out in Dawid's life and in the life of those around him. So far, his firstborn son to Bathsheba is dead. That's one. Chapter 13 that we're about to start to read is going to reveal 3 more characters whose lives are changed or destroyed, etc., because of Dawid's dealings. This is so important, and I'll stress it and I'll go on and read, because you don't realize what impact you have. Okay, you like this better? I sometimes haven't realized what impact I have. The thing that I do, it's not just on me. It's gonna impact over and over again. In fact, sometimes I have to remember that all of my children and children's children's children are linked back to my fathers and fathers and fathers through guess who? Through me. So if I'm a fool and I teach foolishness and I do foolishness, that all's going to have some repercussions on even the potential of having fruit after my kind. And at the same time, if I bless the Most High and I do good and I persevere under affliction and I trust him in all my ways and I lean not to my own understanding, that's going to have some repercussions for my children and children's children, and et cetera, et cetera. Y'all get it? And so we're going to see what repercussions Dawid has. 2 Samuel chapter 13. And after this, it came to be that Absalom, the son of Dawid, had a beautiful sister whose name was Tamar. And Amnon, the son of Dawid, loved her. This is kind of interesting because, Amnon and Tamar have different mothers. And so I don't know. All right, let's get for real. So just because somebody is, in your natural bloodline doesn't stop them from being beautiful or handsome, right? But it's more than taboo in Israel, y'all. No, I know in the world it might be taboo, which means, people don't really do it, or, we shouldn't talk about it, or blah, 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 blah. But in Israel, it's the law. And so he has no access right, or et cetera, and him sort of dealing with this is a good opportunity for us to be reminded of the boundaries that HaTorah puts around us to guard against the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. Because this trio right here is often involved in every evil work. Oh, sure, there's pride, and arrogance and rebellion and etc. But it often starts with the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. It's like, I just gotta have it. It's like, I don't care what happens, I gotta have it. I'm caught up in the moment or the moments, and now I'm doing the thing, and when I'm done doing the thing, hold on. So his sister, whose name was Tamar, and Amnon was distressed, even to become sick, because his sister Tamar, for she was a maiden, and it was hard in the eyes of Amnon to do whatever to her. So he's fighting this fight inside, right? He's knowing that he shouldn't, but he's feeling it. It reminds me of Shaul back up in Romans, where he's talking about wanting to do the thing that's right, and he can't find a way, or wanting to not do the thing that's wrong, and he can't find the way. You know the story. But he's having this battle. But he had a friend whose name was Yonadab, the son of Shemuel, Dawid's brother. Now, Yonadab was a very wise man. In my mind, this is a little bit questionable, and his advice he's going to give will show you why I'm questioning it. And he said to him, "Why are you, the sovereign son, becoming thinner day after day? Explain it to me." And Amnon said to him, "I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. I just love her. She's so fine." Mocking him a little bit, yeah, but hang in there. And Yonadab said to him, "Lie down on your bed." And so I wonder if that word wise is about cunning and wickedness, because the truth of the matter is that this wisdom is not from Elohim. So let's go look that up. So the KJV says subtle. The word is chachim, like in Kokma. And so wise, skillful, shrewd, cunning, crafty, wily, subtle, so subtle. So yeah, indeed, it's not that he was really smart and that he was having the wisdom of Yahuah coming through, but he was a clever guy. He knew how to do a thing. He was tricky. You had to watch him. And he said to them, "Why are you becoming thinner each day? Explain it to me." And Amnon said to him, "I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister." And Yonadab, now it's funny how he calls Absalom his brother, and she's Absalom's sister, but he don't just flat out say my sister. This is how we do it. Well, do what, Ephraim? This is how we open the door to sin, because we start to get all semantic. We start to get, all reasoning around the thing when the thing is just what it is, and we don't want to look at it as just what it is, and we're starting to give room to our being that it might be convinced to walk out on this lust of the flesh, this lust of the eye, because we're downplaying the nature of the thing that we're wanting to do because we just want it so bad. So it's Absalom's sister. Absalom's my brother, but I'm not calling her my sister. And Yonadab said to him, "Lie down on your bed and pretend to be sick. And when your father comes to see you, say to him, 'Please let my sister Tamar come and give me food, and make the food before my eyes so that I see it and eat it from her hand.'" And so let's get the structure here. The son goes to the father and he says, "Let your daughter come in here and give me some food." All the time in his mind, he's got wickedness on his mind. So Amnon lay down and pretended to be sick. And when the sovereign came to see him, Amnon said to the sovereign, "Please let Tamar, my sister, come and make a couple cakes for me before my eyes, so that I eat from her hand. And Dawid sent Tamar to the house, saying, please go to the house of your brother Amnon and make food for him. And you see, Dawid doesn't say your brother Absalom's brother. He just says your brother Amnon, because he's not playing games here. He's not manipulating the truth. Verse 8. So Tamar went to her brother Amnon's house while he was lying down, and she took dough and kneaded it and made cakes before his eyes and baked the cakes. Now, I always wondered what this whole before his eyes thing was. I mean, she could have just bought him something that she made, but he wanted them to be made before his eyes. I guess fresher the better. I don't really have a good understanding for what's going on here except for that. And she took the pan and turned them out before him, but he refused to eat. And Amnon said, make everyone go away from me. And they all went out from him. And Amnon said to Tamar, bring the food into the bedroom that I eat it from your hand. And Tamar took the cakes which she had made and brought them to Amnon, her brother, in the bedroom. And she brought them to him to eat. And he took hold of her and said to her, come, lie with me, my sister. Ooh. So, up until now, we don't have any reason to think Tamar has a clue about what's going on here. Okay, so remember the last chapter? When Dawid sent for Bathsheba, we didn't have any clue that she had a reason to know what Dawid's intention was. Okay, so I just want us to see this like kindness thing that's going on here. Because as I mentioned before many times, and I will continue to say, it seems that everything is trying to bring forth fruit after its kind. That's why I don't like scary people around me, because they're all scared. I don't want that thing trying to influence me to be scary. That's why you don't want thieving people around you, because what you don't want to do is them convince you to be thieving. I don't want any of that negative stuff around me, because negativity is going to try its best to bring forth negativity. And so now here we see that Amnon, who don't know the whole story of what happened with Dawid, and what I mean by that is that he didn't get the play-by-play like we got from the book. Here he is doing the same kind of thing towards his sister. He's drawing her into this place where she is a less and less and less ability to garner her own will against him. All because of the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and the pride of life. And so, come, lie with me, my sister. He took hold of her. And she answered him, no, my brother, do not humble me, for it is not done so in Israel. Do not do this wickedness. She calls it out for what it is. He sent everybody out. If she's screaming or not, nobody can hear it, because they're all been sent out and sent out, and they probably went on about their business sent out. And so now here she is alone with this man who's her brother, who's got ill intentions toward her, and she can't win this battle. Because he ain't sick. He's the age of a man of war, and he overwhelms her probably without much trouble. And so she's not done pleading with him. And where could I take my shame? And you would be like one of the fools in Israel to do this. And now, please speak to the sovereign, for he would not withhold me from you. In other words, maybe there's some way around this that I don't know, and I just not like this. Don't just take me like that and humble me and basically rape me. Don't do this. But he would not listen to her voice, and being stronger than she, he humbled her and laid with her. You know, this story would be terrible if it was a standalone story. But seeing as to how it's right next to the chapter right in front of it, we see that Dawid's seed and his family is reaping what he sowed. Now, one thing that you may not have considered is that how did Dawiḍ get like this? What was his drama before? Because it's some documented facts that people who were involved in incestuous relationships or molestation situations often rinse and repeat and do the same thing. Oftentimes people who are hurt when they're young or whatever, they'll grow up and they will hurt. And they'll propagate it. Here it is again, that seed after its kind. It's like it'll propagate that thing until someone makes a stand. So let me encourage you, set apart ones, to make a stand in your life and in your line, because no matter what happened to you then, no matter what went down, if it's wicked, do your utmost to trust the Most High to break this chain of event, to put a gulf between that sin and the future. Pray for the sins of your father and your own, that your children might be free from that. You know that statement, I want my children to have better than I did. May that be in the spirit realm, even more so in the natural. They don't need, all these games and stuff as much as they need to have spiritual richness in their life that comes from the Most High. There's no, and you can say, well, he won the football championship, or she's the whatever thing that I guess I'm not that good at these sport type things. But anyway, whatever it is that they can achieve in the natural is one thing. CEOs of companies, graduating with honors from schools, all these kinds of things that are nice, they're cool, they're good. But they're nothing compared to hearts that really love the Most High. Can he do them both together? Absolutely. But we sometimes think only in the natural realm, and we find ourselves sort of promoting and putting this environment up that our children get this natural success, and we leave off the fact that now they're natural sinners right into the world's hands. And all of their natural prosperity goes straight to the kingdom of darkness and not the kingdom of light. And this is travesty. But Dawiḍ had a history too. And I think I mentioned before, when it says that he was the youngest, it actually in a delicate way says that he was despised. And if you don't think that that's accurate, you can go back and look up that word in Hebrew and in Hebrew, and you'll see that that's one of the cognates of the word that's being used there when it says he was the least. It was actually despised, and you see the representation or manifestation of that in how Yeshai didn't even bring him in when Shemuel said, "Bring me all your sons." And so I leave that there. But we don't know all the details. I don't know all the details. They're probably hidden somewhere in a book I haven't seen yet. But Dawiḍ had some issues with lust. He had to do what he did. And now we see that one of his boys, Amnon, has got some issues with lust. And the result is that he's taken or raped his own sister. But watch what happens next. verse 15. Now let's do 14 again. But he would not listen to her voice, and being stronger than her, or she, he humbled her and lay with her. Amnon then hated her exceedingly, so that the hatred with which he hated her was greater than the love with which he had loved her. And Amnon said to her, arise and go. In other words, get out of here. So was that real love? Or was that lust? Was that driven by some spiritual wickedness? Because even if he didn't enjoy this encounter he just did, if y'all can get what I'm saying, even if he didn't enjoy this encounter he just did, the fact of what currency he spent to do it, he shamed his little sister. He's broken the commandments, and now he's going to be rude to her. Get out of here, he says to her. I ain't got what I want. Get out of here. And she said to him, no, for this evil of sending me away is worse than the other you have done to me. But he would not listen to her. And the reason his ears are shut is because we only got one sheep down so far. And now we've got two more. Amnon and Tamar's lives are impacted by Dawid's drama, the son that died of Bathsheba, the first one, 3 down and 1 to go. No, not completely down, but walk with me. No, for this evil of sending me away is worse than the other you have done to me. But he would not listen to her, and he called his young man serving him and said, now put this one out, away from me, and bolt the door behind me. Cold-blooded. And she had on a long coat, for the sovereign's maidens' daughters wore such garments. And his servant put her out and bolted the door behind her. So she was willing to cling to him and to trust in the mercy of the king and ultimately in the mercy of the Most High to let this thing stand. But he wasn't having it. And I believe this is from Yahuah. So this whole thing with the long coat, so it's kind of made me think about something. It's a little bit of a tangent, so hang in here with me. So the whole idea of a long coat was to mark these girls or these young ladies as virgins. And so the wearing of the long coat actually was known by everybody customarily that they were virgins. And I think about the sensibilities that we have today, right? Where we don't even have it is unusual. I was going to say difficult. It's unusual for us to have plain talks amongst each other, or even have any kind of system that will help govern that says, that the woman is in nidah, or that the children are virgins, or any of these sort of things that we put in the sort of sexual category. And I did that weird thing because I want to emphasize the fact that we've sort of turned this natural phenomena, this gift from Elohim, this beauty that he's given us to it, into a dark thing. And so men and women are constrained in modern civilizations, especially the Western world, where they can't even talk about this stuff without being unusual, or I use that word again, taboo. It's like, man, you can't be talking about that. So your daughter's a virgin? Yeah, she is. I pray that she stay one until the day that she's married. I pray that they put the sheet down and then they get the evidence thereof. I pray that they walk this out, even like they did in ancient Israel, because there's nothing, this time that separates then and now is irrelevant. The truth is that Yahuwah's laws and his ways are perfect throughout time. And so I just wanted to kind of take that tangent on this idea of the long coat. So she had a long coat, for the sovereign's maidens' daughters wore such garments, and his servant put her out and bolted the door behind her. And Tamar put ashes on her head and tore her long coat that was on her, and put her hand on her head and went away crying bitterly. Verse 20, and Absalom, her brother, said to her, has Amnon your brother been with you? But now, keep silent, my sister. He is your brother. Do not take this matter to heart. So Tamar remained in the house of her brother Absalom, but was ruined. What that says is that this impacted the rest of her life. And so back to my echoes, right? Back to my reverberations or repercussions or whatever you want to call them. What Dawid did has now affected her entire life. The door that he'd opened to sin, something rushed in. And I'm here to tell you that if you live right and if you're upright and if you toe the line and do good, then you crack that door. It's like ooh-wee to those spirits of darkness. They're not so much delighting in bringing down the ones that's already down, so much as there are ooh-wee. Righteous Zakan Ephraim decided to do blah. Let me at him. And unless the mercy and the kindness of Yahuah our Elohim steps in, we would be ruined, because there's nothing as delightful as to the devil. There's nothing as delightful as bringing down the set apart ones and causing what he would feel like shame to be put upon our Father. So walk circumspectly, set apart ones. Break those spiritual wickednesses that will pull you into the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, and pride of life. Be content, even as he grows and multiplies and prospers you, that you not find yourself a victim of spirits of darkness and of giving our enemy an opportunity to blaspheme the great name of our King, Yahuah Elohim. All right. So Absalom said, keep this on the down low. Don't say nothing. Just hang out with me. I'm your big brother. I got you covered, little sister, best I can. I mean, because I can't undo that thing, but I got you. And so I don't find any fault in what Absalom's perspective is. And I kind of understand some of the next things that he's going to do. Because what Amnon did was wicked beyond wicked. So Tamar remained in the house of her brother Absalom, but was ruined. And sovereign Dawiḍ heard all these reports, and he was very wroth. But I got to tell you, in verse 21, Dawiḍ's thinking about the stuff he did. He's thinking about the stuff he can't pull back. You ever had regrets? I certainly have. Thinking about the things, oh man, if I hadn't have done that, then this wouldn't have happened. When I got a connection, because it's one thing to just always be like sour pussing and oh, woe is me, maybe I should have done this, maybe I should have done that. I'm not so down with that. But when I got a clear connection, the thing I did and the thing that happened, and the thing that happened is terrible or bad or undesirable, then I'm willing to connect it and to meditate on it for this reason. Let me tell you why. Because oftentimes the thing that I did, I've already repented of. And if I haven't, this is what I do. I do repent, and then I trust the blood of Mashiach. I trust the words of Yochanan put in 1 Yochanan chapter 1, verse 9. He says that if I confess my sin, that he's faithful and just to forgive me and to cleanse me from all unrighteousness. Notice he didn't say anything about the thing that you sowed, you will never reap at this point. But he's removed from me this consciousness of sin that keeps coming up. And we're reading through the book of Dawiḍ as well. And in chapter 9, there's this mention of how the blood of bullocks and goats and lambs could never remove the consciousness of sin. And I believe that Mashiach, so his blood, has done exactly that. And we can talk about it in detail later. But my point is that here we have Dawiḍ hearing this story, and he can't help but connect the dots. And Absalom spoke to his brother in verse 22, Amnon, neither good nor evil. He played it off, they would say. For Absalom hated Amnon because he had humbled his sister Tamar. And it came to be after 2 years he laid low, that Absalom had sheep shearers in Baal Hatzor, which is beside Ephraim. And Absalom invited all the sons of the sovereign. And Absalom came to the sovereign and said, see, your servant has sheep shearers. Please let the sovereign and his servants go with your servant. But the sovereign said to Absalom, no, my son, let us not all go down now, lest we be too heavy on you. And he urged him, but he would not go, and he blessed him. And so Absalom actually wanted Dawiḍ to be there, but he didn't go. And Absalom said, if not, please let my brother Amnon go with us. And the sovereign said to him, why should he go with you? And Absalom urged him, so he let Amnon and all the sons of the sovereign go with him. And so you see, this cat and mouse thing going on. And Absalom is really, he's got some craftiness too here. He's wise. He said, well, let Amnon go. It's been 2 years, I haven't said nothing to him. I ain't got no issue. Let him come. And Absalom commanded his servants, saying, watch when the heart of Amnon is glad with wine, and I shall say to you, strike Amnon, then kill him. Do not be afraid. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and brave. Then the servants of Absalom did to Amnon as Absalom had commanded. Then all the sons of the sovereign rose up, and each one mounted his mule and fled. Now, it's interesting to me that none of them came against Absalom. And the reason they didn't is because they knew why he did what he did. And Amnon was getting his comeuppance here, and they were like, let me out of here before the sword gets too loose and ends up on my neck. Just let me go. And it came to be while they were on the way that news came to Dawiḍ saying, Absalom has stricken all the sons of the sovereign, and not one of them is left. Tell you, boy, people can bend a story. And the sovereign rose up and tore his garments and lay on the ground, and all his servants stood by with their garments torn. Again, I don't have proof. But man, I bet you right then Dawiḍ is saying, man, what have I done? Was laying with that woman this important? All my sons are dead? Do you see what I'm saying? So how does the Most High use this kind of thing? So I can only speak from personal experience because there's nothing in the book that really tells us that this is what happens. But from personal experience, what these kinds of things do is they burn out sin and they burn in righteousness. And they only do that if you will put yourself in the right position. In other words, if your heart is like unto Shaul, it might do nothing for you. You might say, oh, okay, and you keep it moving. But when your heart is like unto the Most High, like it says that King Dawiḍ says, then what happens is that the mistakes that you've made give you a booster shot towards making those mistakes and those kinds of mistakes and any mistake in general again in the future. You become stronger for it. It's you recognize the weakness of your flesh, and you recognize that the lust of the eye and the lust of the flesh and the pride of life have no intention but to draw you away from the will of the Most High, your Elohim. And so this is actually a good thing, even though it hurts like nobody's business. And so now Dawiḍ is crying out that oh, my sons are dead. And he's tore his garments, and verse 32 says, Jonadab, son of Shemuel, that same one, Dawi's brother answered and said, do not let my masters say that they have killed all the young men, the sons of the sovereign, for only Amnon is dead. For by the mouth of Absalom, this has been appointed from the day that he humbled his sister Tamar. All right, this might seem kind of wicked, but it's not my intention. Sometimes you gotta plot out your thing. Sometimes you gotta strategize and plan and click it together piece by piece and wait on it and be patient for the right opportunity to do that thing that the Most High has put in your heart to do. Notice I didn't say that you just want to do. But in this case, Absalom laid low. He acted like it was no big deal. But all the time, he must have said it to somebody because Jonadab seemed to know that he spoke this thing from the get-go. Verse 34. And now, let not my master the sovereign take the matter to his heart to think that all the sons of the sovereign are dead, for only Amnon is dead. And Absalom fled, and the young man who was watching lifted up his eyes and looked and saw many people were coming from the way behind him on the side of the hill. And Jonadab said to the sovereign, look, the sons of the sovereign are coming, as your servant said, so it is. It came to be, as soon as he had finished speaking, that look, the sons of the sovereign came, and they lifted up their voice and wept, and the sovereign too, and all his servants wept bitterly. This is weeping for joy and probably for sorrow. But Absalom fled and went to Talmai, son of Ammihud, sovereign of Geshur. And Dawiḍ mourned for his son all the days. So Absalom fled and went to Geshur and was there 3 years. Sovereign Dawiḍ then longed to go to Absalom, for he had been comforted concerning Amnon because he was dead. And so we see that, Dawiḍ still loved Absalom. And he's in a very difficult position, as we'll see in the next few chapters. But we'll watch how he walks it out, and prayerfully we'll glean and learn from what he did in a way that's actually applicable to our lives. I say on the YouTube channel that something that's my desire, which is to have applied biblical studies. And in other words, I want these messages to actually mean something, to actually give us insight that we can use in our walk day to day, minute to minute, etc. And it's my hope and desire that that's been the case. With that said, I want to give thanks to the Most High and to those who supported the ministry, both in prayer and encouraging words and in funds, in every way that you can. I want to say Toda to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I bless the Most High for you all who've listened, who've made comments and reached out to me on the side and all that kind of thing, because it's a good thing to know that these words aren't just going into a void. There was one last thing that I wanted to end with, and that's that the feasts are coming, and wherever you're going to feast, I pray you're preparing your heart for Yom Teruah. I pray that you're preparing your heart for Yom Kippur. I pray that you're preparing your heart for Sukkot, and that the Most High will meet you in the midst of all of them. All right, until next time, shalom, shalom from the house of Ephraim. Hallelujah. Bless the Most High. Amen.